Yeah, all the different techie, yeah, yeah, so that would make it a lot for you.
I'm bored of it.
Maybe they're watching. Shell produces that much.
Call the meeting of February 20th, 2024 to order at 6 p.m.
Mayor,
Please turn on your mic.
Okay, now I call to order the February 20th, 2024 meeting at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Potato,
Here.
Bowman.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Cole,
Here.
Alfers,
Here.
Stewart.
Councilmember Stewart did not make it. He might pop on in a little while, but. Andrea, do you want to?
We can give him a few minutes and
Okay.
excuse him if he doesn't make it.
All right. Okay, so tonight we're working off an amended agenda. We have canceled the executive session. Deputy Mayor Cole, would you like to make a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
Yes, I move to accept the agenda of today, February 20th, as amended.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Bowman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. Okay. All right. We are moved on. We have no regular business tonight.
Mayor, would you like me to read the consent agenda?
Sure, that would be good. I know it. Oh, yeah, I forgot that part.
Item number 1, resolution number 1667, Recreation and Conservation Office, RCO grant authorization. Item number 2, Operations Facility Consultant Contract Amendment. Item number 3, Heritage Park and Alley Master Plan Consultant Contract Amendment. Item 4, Systemic Horizontal Curve Improvements Consultant Contract Award. Item 5, Approval of electronic checks and payments in the amount of $2,632,102.48. Item number 6, approval of the minutes from the February 5th, 2024 regular meeting and the special study session and the 12th of February, 2024 study session.
Thank you. Now that we have actually read that, Deputy Mayor, would you like to make a motion to adopt that?
Yes, I move that we adopt the consent agenda for today, February 20th, 2024, as read by the clerk.
And do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilmember Potato. All right, now we're back on track. How do you like that?
Mayor, could you vote?
Excuse me?
Would you vote, please? All in favor?
I can't hear you.
All in
Oh,
favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, we're getting there. So no unfinished business. And now we're on public comment. Michelle, would you please read the rules for public comment?
This is the time for you to address the mayor and the council as a whole regarding items that are not on the agenda. When the mayor calls your name, please approach the podium. And if you're participating via Zoom, use the raise your hand or telephonically press *9. Before you begin your remarks, please state your name and address or city in which you reside for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. As a reminder, public comment is a time for the council to hear from you and not a time to engage in back and forth. If you raise specific questions, the mayor may direct you to the appropriate staff member for further discussion.
Thank you. Does anyone in the audience would like to make a statement or have something to speak? We have two signed up. First one is Melissa Fox.
You need to hit the on button.
Good evening. Thank you for granting me the opportunity to speak before the city
I'm
council.
sorry, you're gonna have to do that again. I hit the wrong button this time. Thank you.
So, good evening. Thank you for granting me the opportunity to speak before the city council. My name is Melissa Fox. My address is 16913 8th Avenue East in Spanaway. Although I don't live in Sumner, my family has a long and deep connection with the city. My ancestors are the Wooleries, who came on the same wagon train as the Ryans and the Kincaids. In 1864, Isaac Woolery donated the land where the old Sumner Cemetery is located. Much of my family is buried in the cemetery, and I'm very proud to be part of the history of this city. I'm here tonight to inquire after the waterfall that recognized the pioneer families responsible for founding Sumner. The monument was made of slates bearing the family names, and it was located on the corner of Main and Narrow Streets near the small gazebo. I'm aware that some construction took place there and the waterfall was dismantled. My question is, where's the waterfall now located? And if it has not been moved somewhere, then I would ask, why is that? And what plans have been made to reassemble the monument? I would appreciate information about the waterfall. My family has been concerned about the removal as it represents a significant story of Sumner's history. Thank you.
Thank you. And in the back row in the blue shirt is Michael Kosa, and he's Public Works Director. He might be able to answer some of your questions. Thank you. Next speaker, Randall Adams.
Randall Adams, 63rd Street, Court East. Last meeting, Chris Moore of the Washington Trust for Historic Preservation reached out to you in support of our efforts to save the Ryan House and verifying that often additional costs happen during a rehabilitation project that simply requires you to adjust into phases, especially when you still had 1.5 million available. This week in the Heritage League of Pierce County, who gave you a $304,000 grant, presented the Historical Society with an advocacy award for their efforts to save the Ryan House and through their support behind our efforts and proclaim their sincere desire to help. So it is not just some wild-haired citizens who disagree with your actions and thought processes, because saving the Ryan House is gaining momentum with organizations who could be among your best supporters, yet you have turned your back on them and the citizens of Sumner, and as a result, none of us can support you and or your aggressive attempts to demo the Ryan House. I, for one, have come to realize just how insane this process is for the city council members. For you have to believe in the accuracy of what you are being told by city staff. Last meeting, we found out that you definitely were, kindly stated, misled regarding the city informing the Historic Society or folks who needed to know about your efforts to demolish the Ryan House before you voted. What other things have come to you for votes where you've been misled? Simply put, this process is broken, because how can you trust the accuracy of what is being presented to you, and how many additional hours must you now spend to actually know what you're voting on? I asked a question a few meetings ago, and Pierce County did get back to me and verify that yes, indeed, they approved both 1.5 million for the Canal Block Park and 750,000 for the Ryan House. The difference in the funds is the Ryan House monies was actually going to go toward remodeling it, and the 1.5 million is just going for design, engineers, et cetera, to add to the 200,000 that's already been spent on them. This is why you were asked to open up your emergency $1.1 million reserve account for over $300,000 to demolish the old post office and adjacent business. The unique part of that presentation is that while you were being asked for those funds, you heard about working conditions where a leaf blower has to be used to blow out rat droppings before some of our employees can start working. How proud you must be that you are actually operating like slumlords at some places where our employees work. while you're spending 1.8 million here, the covered basketball court there, and 60 million on the utility administration complex north of town. The city priorities need a huge correction and a come to Jesus moment to better serve this community, to stop saying disclosure is not required. And for this to happen, it's going to have to come from the city council demanding that it be done. Councilmember Stewart last meeting suggested that all of the sites for our employees be addressed in one shot.
Sir,
And I
your
for one
time is up.
agree with him.
All right. Anybody else have any comments they would like to make? All right, moving on to new business.
Online.
Online, it just popped up. Mr. Bierman.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I am homesick. I hope everyone stays safe. But my comment was I just wanted to talk a little bit about the communication, and how communication is an essential part of any relationship, and the relationship between the city and its citizens is no different. And I think, there may be some efforts we can do as a community to improve communication going both ways, between city and the residents, and also increase opportunities for citizens to be more engaged in the community, more involved in city council, more involved in voicing concerns and having and feeling like their concerns are being heard. This it does echo some things I've said in the past, but just wanted to repeat that and focus on that tonight. But thank you for your time.
All right. Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, we will move on to new business. Start off on ordinance number 2869, Sumner Municipal Code Update, 13.48, Stormwater Management. Michael Kosa.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Just a minute.
We need a
motion. We need a motion, right?
Mr. Elfers, would you like to make a motion?
I would. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 2869, Sumner Municipal Code Update, stormwater management regulations.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Potato. All right, Michael.
Great. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This ordinance is a very minor code update to our city stormwater code. Due to some of the housing code changes, zero lot line code a few months ago, there were some unintended consequences to the stormwater code. Typically, the city assumes responsibility for the storm facilities in a platted, low-density, residential, single-family development. All multifamily, commercial, and industrial development stormwater facilities are privately owned and maintained. The single-family, and the city typically takes over those single-family development stormwater facilities. With the zero lot line code change, it made it very difficult to understand how that fit in. So rather than constructing multifamily developments, developers are constructing townhouses that have zero lot line but are on individual lots. So those qualified as a single family residential, or it may qualify. So to clean that up, the code needs to be changed to clarify that storm facilities in these types of developments, these single lot line or zero lot line developments, are to be privately owned, as they're more similar to multifamily developments that are just differently platted. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. So do we have any comments from the public on this? Seeing none? Any from the council? Anything to ask him? Okay, seeing none. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Potato,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Alfers,
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimous. All right, we move down to ordinance number 2882, Public Works Trust Fund Loan. Deputy Mayor Cole, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 2882, Public Works Trust Fund Loans.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Brown. Wow.
Good evening, council. My name is Drew McCarty, engineering specialist here at the city. This item before you tonight is ordinance 2882 for the Public Works Trust Fund loan acceptance. As part of the efforts to fund the construction of the new decamp facility, the city applied for the Public Works Board Trust Fund loan, and the board awarded the city $2,804,414 with an interest rate of 1.72% in loan terms of 20 years. And this project is anticipated to go to advertisement at the beginning of this year.
All right. Do we have any questions for her? Go ahead, Barbara.
If you didn't get the loan, what would be the, if through a bank or whatever, what would the interest rate be?
Significantly greater than 1%. 1% is a really great rate.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you. Are there any comments from the public on this? Mr. Adams,
Go here,
come on up.
I'll surprise you. Actually, I want to commend Drew and the city for getting such a desirable loan. That's something that we shouldn't take for as an automatic thing that's available. That is something that we should be very proud of their efforts.
Thank you. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bowman,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Alfers,
Yes.
All right, passes unanimous. Okay, moving right along. Ordinance number 2878, Essential Public
point of
Facility.
order, Mayor.
Excuse me.
We're on 2881, utility fee based update.
Which one?
So the next.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I have too many things on my agenda, I guess. All right, 2881 utility fee based update. Councilmember Botetto, would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2881, utility fee based update.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Brown. Now I call on Michael Kosa.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This proposed ordinance introduces a strategic and uniform approach to providing credits to property owners against their city's system development charges when reconnecting to the water or sewer system following illegal demolition or emergency destruction of their building. Property owners can also request credits against transportation impact fees associated with redevelopment. If transportation impact fees are paid on development that is legally demolished or otherwise disrupted. These credits, specifically intended to incentivize the redevelopment of destroyed sites, remain valid for a period of 10 years from the date of initial service discontinuation. This envisioned change establishes a unified and consistent framework for legally demolished buildings across the municipal code. Currently, there's some discrepancies among the water, sewer, storm utilities and what that code, where that how that plays into it. So this establishes this 10-year credit period, and during which you can use it for redevelopment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No? No? Any comments from the public? No? All right. Will clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
and Bowman.
Yes.
Thank you. Unanimous. All right. Now go for ordinance number 2878, Essential Public Facilities Code Update. We get Ann Siegenthaler.
Mayor, can we get a motion,
Councilmember
please?
Brown, Bowman, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2878, Essential Public Facilities Code Update.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Cole. Now we have Ann Siegenthaler.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Hayden, council members, and Siegenthaler, Department of Community Development Senior Planner. I'll just go quickly through some overview of the Essential Public Facilities Code. You viewed this at the study session last time. We need some help here. There we go. So just again, as a refresher, we're talking about two types of essential public facilities. One type are the very large, difficult to site types of facilities like an airport. The other type of facility that we're addressing in this proposed code is behavioral health facilities. And those are typically smaller facilities. Many of them fit into residential neighborhoods such as group homes and larger group homes. And again, the reason that we're proposing this code updated, one, it's a state requirement. All cities are required to have a process. Our code has gaps right now. We have an incomplete process. We don't include a lot of the facilities that we're required to have. So we want to make sure our code is compliant with the state. And there's some time sensitivity to this. It could be that an agency comes in, a provider, and proposes a facility, and we wouldn't have a complete process set up under which we could review that facility. And what this proposed code does is it adds control where we can. We're allowed some flexibility in what we can do with essential public facilities, such as, I know I'm not going in the right direction. There we go. So there are state limits on how much local control we have. And that's one of the challenges with this ordinance. We can't preclude essential public facilities. We can't restrict the size of most facilities. And we need to treat residential facilities similarly to other similar residential facilities. However, we can decide which zones we're going to allow which facilities in, as long as we're not totally prohibiting them. And we can require a conditional use permit process, and we can establish siting approval criteria. So what this proposed code does, one, it establishes zones where the facilities are allowed. Generally, residential treatment facilities are proposed to be allowed in residential zones. Single-family residential zones would allow the smaller group homes. Multifamily residential would allow the larger residential treatment facilities. More intense facilities that function more like an outpatient type of facility would be allowed only in commercial zones. The other thing this code would do is we're adding a conditional use permit process for all facilities, large and small. And the conditional use permit process is a hearing process through the hearing examiner, and it allows for public noticing and public comment. And it's an independent hearing examiner making that decision. The approval criteria are established already in the code, but the facility would need to meet those criteria. And in addition, In addition, we're also building in new criteria for essential public facilities. So this is a longer list and all of the essential public facilities would have to meet these extensive criteria such as demonstrating need, looking at potential alternative sites, making sure that Sumner isn't overloaded with facilities disproportionately to other communities, for example. And the provider would have to demonstrate that the facility is compatible with surrounding uses. And then there's another set of criteria for behavioral health facilities. They're a subset of essential public facilities. They're mostly the mental health facilities, group homes, and so on. And so they also have a set of criteria that they need to comply with, including licensing and compatibility with their surroundings. So in conclusion, the proposed code would meet the state requirements. It would add criteria and limits where the city can put some limits. It would allow facilities in appropriate zones. It would require conditional use permit process so that there's ample community vetting on the proposal, and it would require additional siting criteria. So the staff recommendation for you this evening is to move to adopt ordinance 2078 as proposed. And I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you. Any comments from the public on this? Seeing none. Any comments from the council? No?
Yes.
No? Councilmember Bowman.
So I spent a number of hours today reading all of the information. Whew. So you've done a great job. There's a lot in there. I would encourage anybody that can read it to take a look at it. It's very in-depth, but it's very good work considering, you know, what you're working on there. So I appreciate that. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Anybody else? All right, will the clerk please call the roll?
Potato,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Alfers.
Yes.
All right. That's unanimous. Okay, moving on. Our last item on the agenda is council vacancies. Jason Wilson, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Under state law, the city council must fill vacant council seats within 90 days of them becoming vacant. Your council rules outline the appointment process, which includes application, interview, nominations, and appointment. At last week's study session, council conducted in-person interviews of the 6 applicants. And tonight, council will conduct nominations for the vacant seat. I'm going to go over the process of how tonight's nominations and voting will take place. Once again, these are outlined in your rules. So each council member may make 1 nomination, and nominations do not require a second. Prior to appointment voting, the public will have an opportunity to provide input on the nominees, and public comments are limited to 2 minutes. One other thing I forgot to mention, after the nominations are made, they need to be closed by a motion and a second with a majority vote of council, and then we'll accept public comment. After any council discussion, the clerk will call the roll. Upon being called, each council member will state the name of their choice for the vacant position. Any nominee receiving a majority vote of the council shall be declared the winner. If there is not a majority vote, the nominees receiving the least amount of votes shall be dismissed for future rounds of voting. Council may vote as many times as necessary to obtain a majority vote. In the case of a tie, which we shouldn't have tonight because we have an odd number of people here, the mayor would be a tiebreaker vote. Alternatively, the council may move to postpone the election to a date certain if a majority vote is not received. And the newly appointed member will be sworn into office at the next regular council meeting. I should also let you know that at any time you may, in accordance with state law, hold an executive session for discussing the qualifications of the applicants, and there will be no voting or straw polls in that executive session. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mayor, to start the nomination process.
Okay. Would any member like to nominate a candidate? Councilmember Potato.
I'd like to nominate Pat Clerkus.
You? Any more nominations?
I would nominate Pat Clerget as well.
Councilmember Cole, do you have a nomination?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Brown?
Thank you all for your interest in the open council position. Already nominated, Pat Clearjet.
Thank you. Pat Clerget. All right.
Mayor.
So Mayor, we'll need a motion.
Mr.
Oh,
Alford.
Mr. Alford. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to close the nominations.
Do we have a second? To close nominations?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, it's moved and seconded.
Mayor, who's second? Thank you.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded and we have one person nominated, Pat Clerget. So
You'll still need to do a roll call vote,
a
Mayor.
roll call vote. Mayor could the city clerk please call the roll?
Brown,
Pat Clearjet.
Elfers,
Do I say yes? I would say yes to Pat Clerget.
There we go.
Bowman,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes, or Pat Clerget.
Cole,
Yes.
All right, unanimous for Pat Clerget.
Thank you, Mayor, and Mr. Clerk will be in touch. I want to encourage all the other applicants. We have a lot of other vacancies on our commissions and boards, and we'd love to have you on there. That's a great introduction into local government, and if you have future ambitions of being a council member, it's a great way to start that career for you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, before we move on to reports, since Mr. Stewart is still not here and he did let us know that there's a good chance he would not be able to make it, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion for his excusal tonight.
Okay, do we have a motion for Mr. Stewart?
I make a motion to excuse Earl Councilmember Stewart.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Welcome, Mr. Clerget.
Thank you.
All right. I have just a few things here to say.
Mayor,
Yes,
would you
you
like the
do.
council?
What's this?
Would you like the council to go?
No, I was gonna go first. No.
You can do what you like, but I was.
Yes, I will call for council comments. Councilmember Bowman.
Is this a written report section?
Mhm.
All right.
I was so
We're moving
confused
right
for a
along.
minute. I thought, where am I at now? So just quickly, so I am now on the Rainier Communications Commission. Pat was there prior and they thanked her for her participation. There is a lot going on with that. So they thanked you for your participation. Welcome to the new members. They did a great job describing what the RCC or Rainier Communications Commission is. There's a interlocal agreement that a number of city lawyers worked on, including our own city lawyer. They worked very hard. It hadn't been updated since 1999. So they have a solid agreement and there was unanimous approval of the new ILA document by the board members to move it forward. So now we'll have to go forward and vote on it. In terms of new business, for folks that aren't aware, there's a low-income internet, household use internet that 23 million people use throughout the United States. So the intent is we're keeping a close eye on that and hopefully that will pass. The Congress needs to approve a $7 billion bill to keep it running. And if they don't, it will end the end of May. So that's something that the group is really keeping a strong focus on. So we'll meet again here in March, third Wednesday, I think, of the month. It's a morning meeting. Jeff back there, he attends as well. So it's a pretty active commission. So I'll do my best to keep people up to date on what's going on with it. That's all I've got.
No report tonight, thank you.
Councilmember Potato.
Yeah, our school sports are doing quite well this year and, it's pretty exciting to see that. And then just have to thank the voters for
approving the school levy, because I think if having a high school right on Main Street is real important, and then strong schools are a strong community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Member Brown.
Thank you to all who had public comments tonight. No other comment tonight.
Thank you. Okay. Member Elfers.
Yeah, hey, I just have a couple things. The Pierce County Regional Council met last week, and so we are kind of like going through the agenda for the year. I think we're, got a lot of things going on locally. One things I wanted to just to mention that they're not meeting in person yet, and I just from tonight compared to just being in person with you guys, I really feel like we're missing out a little bit on that. So I think that's one of my goals on the Pierce County Regional Council is to get a little bit more in person meeting. I just feel like the collaboration and some of the things we want to get done are a little easier to do in person. Anyways, the meeting went well, and we were just talking about zoning things and growth management things. Sumner lost on a little piece of land that they wanted to take out of our growth management area, kind of over by the Winco. So that was kind of a bummer. But we had some support from some other cities locally, but not enough to beat that. Secondly, I just want to just really thank the community. I thought we had a really good turnout, some really great candidates for the council position, and I just my first experience, I think, with the city government was to miss out on one of those. I applied for a vacancy and I didn't get it. So I think it got me involved in another committee. So I just want to encourage everyone who was not selected just to get involved and to be part of the process. We really need that in the city. We need public comments. We need people that are on those committees and the council as well. So thank you again for everyone's participation.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, again, Mayor and Council. Coming up at next week's study session, we're going to have a discussion regarding our RV dump station, which is located at the wastewater treatment facility. It's in need of some upgrades to maintain compliance with our pretreatment specifications that the state gave us. So we'll be discussing its future and next steps. The March 4th regular council meeting right now, we have 3 items on the agenda. First is swearing in of Mr. Clergett as our new council member, accepting a donation for Metro Animal Services, as well as an ordinance amending our Cultural Arts Commission code. On the development front, I think everybody's aware that Sound Transit started construction of the garage this week. With that, it means that most, if not all, about 2/3 of the parking has been displaced. So we are encouraging commuters to use the Puyallup station. They have a very nice garage over there. It has plenty of room, I'm told. You also have the Bonnie Lake Park and Ride, and you can take the express bus down from Bonnie Lake Park and Ride. It could also be dropped off, or you could walk or bike to the station. Similarly, last week we started an expansion to our Sumner Commuter Connector program with an east-west route where you can park at the Bill Heath Sports Complex and ride that bus over for a small fare and take the train from the station. More information, including how to sign up for that, as well as the schedule, is available on our website. On the legislative front, we are probably 70% of the way through the legislative session at this point. Things in the last 2 weeks, Mr. Windisch testified at the Senate Local Government Committee on second engrossed Senate Substitute House Bill 2160. There's a lot of acronyms in that one there. As a reminder, this bill would require the city to allow multifamily development up to 3.5 stories tall within a half mile of the commuter rail station, of which 10% must be affordable, while also prohibiting the city from requiring off-street parking. Mr. Windisch also testified against this bill twice before prior to it passing the House of Representatives. So I did hear that it made it out of committee again, and it's still working its way through the process. And then today, Mayor Hayden signed in as pro at the House Local Government Committee on Senate Bill 6173. If enacted, this bill would allow our House Bill 1406 sales tax funds from a few years ago to be used to build affordable housing that serves residents at 80% AMI versus the current 60% AMI level. And that's important because if you look in our community, we have several areas within our community that are in that 70 to 75% AMI range, which means they wouldn't qualify for affordable housing as the law is currently written. So this expands it up a little bit wider, and it has wide support from a lot of cities in Pierce County, especially those that are a part of the South Sound Housing Affordability Partnership. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No? No? All right. Okay. So as you heard, the state session, it's got 3 more weeks to go. If you have any concerns or anything, contact your legislators. That's what they're there for. So, and thank you to all who applied. Don't give up. We'll have plenty of positions coming down the line. So, with that said, welcome, Pat. Glad to see you up here and we appreciate your willingness to serve. I will adjourn this meeting at 6:41.